Welcome to a new video in my home automation series, and last time I received a package from Sonoff. It contained actually two devices. The one I already reviewed, which was the water leak sensor, and this is a smart water valve. So this is type of these garden valves that you can use to irrigate your garden or flowers or pots or whatever. So this is just a simple battery operated device. It runs on Zigbee, you can see that. And then it has an inlet connection, and then it has another connection at the bottom. And then basically you can just use this to remotely turn the water on and off. And you can connect like sprinklers or, these deep irrigation lines here, and then just going to irrigate your water. And it's a very simple device because essentially this is like a, just like a switch, like a Sonoff basic, but instead of operating a light, it just operates a valve inside it which opens and closes the water line, and that's pretty much it. It is an interesting device because as you're going to see in the Sonoff ecosystem, so in eWeLink or in the iHost, it just appears like a simple switch, and you use the usual scenes, schedules, loop timers to set up your irrigation cycle, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything more than that. I mean essentially this is what you want, so I wasn't expecting a lot more. I tried to set it up in my Tuya system, which didn't work for some reason, but then I managed to set up for Zigbee to MQTT, and in Zigbee to MQTT I was able to get a few more data out of this device. For example, it is able to tell me if there is no water pressure on the inlet side, so it is somehow able to detect that. And there were also settings which seem to suggest that it can also measure the flow rate, not the flow rate, but how much water is going through this, because there were some special settings to set up irrigation based on volume, not based on time. But it wasn't really working. So like I tried to measure how much water it lets through, but it was not what I set in the program. So I think probably this is a feature which was included in the hardware, but maybe it wasn't working reliably. So they, in the eWeLink, they just decided not to show it and just, make it appear as a simple or sort of on-off switch. So in this video, I'm going to review how it works in the eWeLink application. Also, I checked it on the iHost. I checked it on the Tuya, but it didn't work, so that's not going to be included. And finally, I'm going to show you how it also behaves in Zigbee to MQTT. So let's have a quick look at the device. I mean, there is not much to see here. It's a chunky plastic piece which has, I think this is a 1/2 inch connector so that's the inlet. It has a screen, and then that's also a 1/2 inch outlet. And other than that, it's a plastic body. It has some stats here, and it runs on batteries, obviously. And I like the battery compartment. So this is not rechargeable, nothing like this. You pull this, you push this in, and then you can pull it out, and then it's 4 AA batteries. And at the moment I have rechargeable batteries inside, and it works fine on rechargeable batteries. It reports a lower battery percentage. So I think these were charged recently. They show 60 something percent. So I'm pretty sure if I would use normal non-rechargeable batteries, which has a higher voltage, then it would go up to 100%. But it still works with this. I think the real question with these guys is how they handle low battery situation. Because obviously, if the battery is not strong enough to open and close the valves, you want these devices not to open the valve, because then, if they drain the battery so much that they are not able to close the valve, then you have a water leak situation. But I haven't gotten that far, so I can't really tell you how they behave in this situation. And let me just also show you what's in the box. So yeah, here. So as you can see, it does have things here which say, irrigation when volume is reached. But again, I haven't found anything like that in the app. Or maybe a newer version of the app is coming out, but definitely it's not available in the eWeLink application at the moment. And you can see the stats here. So everything is made, I haven't taken this unit apart, but it looks like everything is made out of plastic. And about 1 year ago, I reviewed a very similar device from, I think that was Blitzwolf, and that also had a plastic body, which, I mean, it was a sturdy construction just like this one. This is like a heavy, chunky beast, but I was able to break I think it's the inlet connection, because I was trying to connect a rigid pipe to it, and of course the rigid pipe being rigid, I was like flexing and trying to, you know, just get this in the position, and I was putting too much strain in here, and it just snapped. Well, it didn't broke, but then from that point onward it started leaking on the inlet side, which basically makes it unusable. So just make sure that whenever you're using this, obviously you can screw it this one, connect this side on the tap, but if you are connecting anything here, maybe use a flexible pipe so the pipe itself does not, you know, put a strain on this entire device, because you might end up breaking it just like I did. And on the front side we have just a button. So, and it has a green, yeah, so you probably, I don't know if you heard a click, so it just turned on. Okay, you can hear a click, and now it's off. And when it's in pairing mode, this ring just flashes. But that's pretty much it. You don't really need to know anything else about this. In the box, you are not getting anything else other than the device. Oh, you get a little bit of Teflon tape, and then a little bit of documentation, but nothing else. Yeah, inlet, outlet, battery slot, that's it. And also the same how you connect the battery. Not that you probably can figure this out yourself as well. And then this the inlet and the outlet, and there's nothing really much else on the other side. Yeah, FCC compliance and that sort of stuff. So I'm still a little bit confused about this volume measurement fact that it is mentioned here. Some of it is available in the Zigbee to MQTT, some of them is visible in the Zigbee to MQTT, although not everything, but there's nothing in the eWeLink application. So maybe there will be some updates for this in the future. And the new device is added, and it's added as SWV, or Smart Water Valve, I guess. And as you can see, it has a big on-off button, so I can turn this on here, and on the main screen I can turn this off as well. And it works. Yeah, nothing special about that. And interestingly, it looks like that it appears as a single gang like switch, or like a Zigbee Mini or a Zigbee Basic. So the user interface is going to be very, very same. And I think most of the functionality is going to be on the main screen, because in the settings you can't really do an awful lot. You can change the icon, so maybe it's a good idea. Well, not so good idea, but I mean it's going to be some sort of sprinkler, so I might just change the icon to sprinkler. I can change the room, I can create groups. So if I have, you know, different so if I have multiple plots or multiple gardens that I want to irrigate at the same time, I can buy multiple of these devices, and I can just link them together or group them together. So if I turn on one, all of them are going to turn on. And I can also create some scenes, which we are going to do later. But I think first I'm going to go back to this, you know, the free functionalities, the schedule timer and the loop timer. So if I want a really simple setup, then I can create some schedules. So let's say I want to start irrigation 5 a.m. in the morning. So, and I want to do them on, let's say, on these specific days. Sorry, no, I meant, let's say I want to set it up on Monday. It's going to turn on at 5 o'clock. And I want to turn this off at 5:30. So 5. So I want to irrigate for half an hour. And off, and for this I'm going to set up every single day. Yep, and save. So now I have settings for Monday. And just like I did a settings for Monday, I can do one for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well. And in here on the screen, I would be able to easily control on which day I want to do irrigation. Let's say if it's a really hot period, then I turn on every single day. But then if the weather gets a little bit cooler, then I can, you know, turn off certain days. So I only irrigate, let's say, only twice a week or every second day of the week or something like that. Or if there is a very rainy period, then I can just turn all of them off. So it is very easy to control them using this, you know, this screen. And it doesn't take an awful lot of setup to do. Or the other thing I can do, I can just turn it on because now I want to run the irrigation, but I don't want to forget to turn it off. So I can create a half-an-hour timer, and within that half an hour, I want this device to turn off. So this is a one-off timer that I can just, you know, now it's enabled, and now the device is going to turn off after half an hour. So, and of course I can turn it off at any point. So again, it's very easy to do one-off things and then just, you know, start it going, start the irrigation, set up a timer just to make sure that you don't forget. And the second one, or sorry, the third one is the repeat timer. Well, actually, the alternate, because I think this is probably the best device for this particular functionality. So let's say you are running a hydroponic system, or, you know, some sort of system where you constantly need to get the root of your, you know, vegetables wet, like, you know, these tower gardens. And here you want to run the irrigation basically in sort of on-off cycle 24/7. So that's what you can do here. So let's assume that you need to run it for 25 minutes, sorry, for 5 minutes it's on, and for 25 minutes it's going to be off. So that's our cycle, and that's how easy it is to set up. And you enable it, you specify the start time. So let's say, you know, basically now, and if I start this, then, oops, and if I save this, then it's basically going to start this never-ending cycle of turning on for 5 minutes and turning off for 25 minutes. So basically for every half an hour, it's going to run the irrigation for 5 minutes. And as long as it's enabled, it's just going to do this loop, you know, 24/7. So that's one other way to do this. And, you know, whenever you don't need this functionality because, you know, for maintenance reason or some other reasons, you can just disable it, and then it's disabled. So that's it. So this is how you use the schedules, the timers, and the loop timer for this particular device. But you can also create these smart scenes, and here I can pretty much do the same what I have just done for you know, the manual scenario with the schedules. So I can create a timer. So let's say 5 o'clock again in the morning. And I want this to repeat on, let's say again, we are going to pick these days again. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, save. And I can now add the second condition. So I want a smart device, and I'm looking for a device which can measure temperature. And so ideally, maybe you can just use like a Zigbee temperature sensor, but I think all my Zigbee temperature sensors are assigned to my iHost, but I do have some here as well. So TH Elite, so we can use the TH Elite for that. So if the temperature exceeds 25 degrees, save, save. Then I want to start my SW on. And that's it. So again, on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday at 5 a.m. if all the conditions are met, and so if the temperature is more than 25 degrees, I want to turn this on. So this is hot weather irrigation. If I can spell weather irrigation. Okay, save. Done. So now I've created my first scene, and the second scene could be exactly like this. Well, not on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but on the alternate days. And then I'm just going to exclude the condition for temperature, and again turn the SWV on to start the irrigation. And just like with the schedules, I can create a third integration, or I can use the schedules for that, but I can create a third, sorry, not integration, a third scene that just, you know, schedules at 5:30 or, you know, whatever time you want, and it's just going to turn the device off. So that would run every single time, regardless if the device is on and off, it just, you know, turns it off. And with this, you automated a weather dependent or a temperature dependent irrigation in your garden. So I'm just going to run the irrigation less and not going to waste water if it's not needed. And here as well, if you don't need to irrigate the garden because let's say this is a veggie patch and, you know, this is out of season, you can just disable this this scene here, and then the irrigation is not going to run any further. And when the new year comes and then you start planting again, you just enable them just like you did in the first year. So again, very easy to set up, and it is very easy to maintain. And so I removed the guy from the NS Panel Pro. So let me just give it, let me just try to add it to the iHost. So I'm going to add a Zigbee device, and it's going to pair. And I'm hoping that it's in pairing mode automatically, because now it's outside and we have like hellish weather. I mean, my thermometer is showing 40 degrees. Okay, it's 40 degrees. The sun is shining on it. So probably it's 35, but still it's, you know, it's too warm for me. So we just wait until the iHost finds this device. And yeah, it has found. And the device name is Sonoff Switch. So I'm just going to rename that. Save and quit. And yeah, go back to the devices. And that's it. Oops. So now it's on. Let me check. Yeah, it is on. And the bucket is already full. And now it's off. So as you can see, also in the iHost, it just appears as a single device. So yeah, you can turn it on, you can turn it off, as a single gang device. So like a plug or a switch, something like that. So yeah, there is not much that you can do here. Of course, you can view the records, you can rename it. You can't really give it a different name. So it shows up as a plug, some sort of like plug, and it's an end device. And did I turn it off? Yeah, it's off now. So it is working fine. And yeah, I mean, from the iHost point of view, it behaves and it works exactly the same way as how it worked in the eWeLink application. And of course, you can create scenes just like just like I did in the eWeLink application. So the smart device, let me just see if it supports, so it can respond to turn on and off events, but I think most probably the way you're going to set up is this is going to be an action device. So again, you can just set it up so it runs. So the same thing that I already mentioned for the other for the eWeLink application. So let's say I want to set up a irrigation that starts at 5 a.m. every let's say on these days, and if I want to add temperature as well, I can bring in a smart device, and I think I have some temperature sensors here, or maybe I don't have them anymore. Window and door sensor, yeah, those are not going to be useful. But again, you can use a temperature sensor here. So all my temperature sensors are on the NS Panel Pro now. And NS Panel, that's PW, and that's a button, and that's something else. Yeah. So, oh, TH Elite button. Oh, temperature sensor is here. So let's say I can do if the temperature is over 25 degrees. So I can replicate the exact same scenario that I explained for the eWeLink application. And for the actions, I want smart switch, the SWV, and I want to turn it on. So that's going to be a scene which turns on the irrigation at 5 a.m. in these days of the week when it is really hot. So you can create these. You can create another one which doesn't have the temperature condition, but oops, sorry. And make sure that you set this one that when all conditions are met, because obviously, yeah, you want to start these only on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday when the temperature is over 25 degrees. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. And I might have forgot to mention that on the eWeLink app as well, because you can set these in the eWeLink app as well. So going back to what I said is that if you remove the smart on the second scene, you can just omit, don't include the temperature condition in the if section, and you can just set that up for Tuesday and Thursday and Sunday at 5 a.m. So on those days, irrigation is going to run every single time. In these days, the irrigation is only going to run if the temperature is over 25 degrees. And then you need to create a third as well, just like I mentioned, the eWeLink, where it's going to turn off on every single day. So this is how you set up the scenes. Okay, so first let me test it in Zigbee to MQTT. And for this, I had to refresh my Zigbee to MQTT. It was fairly new, but I think since this is just a couple of weeks old product, it needed to be refreshed to get the latest, I guess, settings for this particular device. So you can see that the Sonoff SWV, or the smart water sensor or water valve, is here. And I think I used some rechargeable batteries. So it is not showing 100% charge, 63% at the moment. So I'm guessing that's because the rechargeable batteries have a lower voltage. Yeah, that's fine. And this is obviously an end device and is supported. And oops, when I look at the thing that it exposes, actually it is very interesting, but not everything works. So let me just go through this. First, we have a flow where it reports the current water flow, and it is not doing that. So maybe I have to run it for a longer period of time, but it never returns any value. So I think this is probably comes from some sort of definition or some default templates, but this device doesn't support it. It definitely shows the battery voltage. There is a state where I can turn this guy on and off. There is a current device status, and normally it says normal state, but if you disconnect it and you return it on, it's going to tell you that it doesn't have water. So it is able to tell you that if water is not connected, and I'm just going to overlay the settings that what it shows when water is not connected. And then let me just jump at the back, or at the end of the list. So it also has a link quality, and then it has two built-in irrigation cycles. And so as you can see, well, both of them are very similar. The only difference is that whether it uses a time or a capacity, or like a liters for the irrigation. So here on the top one, you can say that I want to irrigate 2 times. Each irrigation should be, let's say 2 times, each irrigation should be 30 seconds, and it should be like 60 seconds apart. And when you click apply, it runs this program, and then it's just going to turn on for 30 seconds, then it's going to turn off for 60 seconds, and it's going to be turned on for 30 seconds again. And it's it's good functionality. Yeah, it's great. And then you can do the same but with volume. So now I want to water twice. In each of them, I want to water only 2 liters, and I want to pause 10 seconds between those 2 watering. And actually, let me show you how this works. Oh, okay. I just realized that my screen is a little bit too big, and you didn't see probably the end of it. But yeah, you haven't really missed anything. So you can see that. So if I turn this on, actually, I can see the thing is now outside. So I run this program now. So now it's on. So the tap is only open for a little bit. And oh, by the way, you can see that there is nothing really returned here on the flow side. So now it's stopped, and now it's waiting for 10 seconds, and it's going to start again. And this count also goes up. And by the way, if I show you the MQTT messages, so these are the type of messages that are returned. So that's the cycle count, its normal state, and it's off at the moment because it has turned off now again. And yeah, it also has some version information. So this is really good functionality, because if you need some specific cycles, you can set it at least here in Zigbee to MQTT, and you can just apply, and it's going to run, and then it's going to do those cycles automatically. But I mean, to be honest, you know, once you integrate it into a home automation system or anything, you would probably want to set up your, you know, schedulings, your on-off cycles in that environment. So to be honest, I don't think this would get used a lot. But who knows, maybe that's a niche functionality that you want to run, and then you can just trigger it. Maybe you can just use the coordinator to link this to a button. And then, you know, when you click that button, that applies these predefined rules automatically, and that's pretty much it. Oh, by the way, I'm getting these error messages from time to time, and I'm not sure if this is for this water valve or for the water sensor. But that's the main operation. You know, it doesn't really do anything else. You can see how the message structure it looks like, and as you can see, by the way, there's the message that is getting sent by the device never contains anything which is you know, which is related to the flow. So I think this part of the you know, this cycle irrigation is, you know, it's completely guesswork, because it doesn't looks like that it knows how much, you know, volume is flowing through the device. So I mean, the bucket that is that I'm using is about like 20 liters. So I wanted to water like 4 liters, and it's definitely doing more. And it seems to be doing based on time. So I might just use this upper timer for, you know, just to specify the duration, because I don't think that the liter actually works. But yeah, that could be some other device that has this functionality. For example, if you remember, I reviewed a Blitzwolf, I think it was a Blitzwolf Zigbee water valve about a year ago. And that one actually did measure. And I was, you know, I was testing it. I said that I want 15 liters, and I had a 15-liter bucket, and it filled it right up to the mark. So there are models which know this. They have a flow sensor. They know how much, well, they can measure exactly how much water is flowing through them, but this model doesn't do that. But again, using this current device status, it can tell if water is not connected. So there is some sort of flow sensor, but probably it's not accurate enough to measure, you know, exact volumes and amounts. Okay, so that was my review of this Sonoff Zigbee water valve. You can see here. So if you have irrigation needs in the garden, like a flower pots in your balcony or a vegetable patch, this would be an ideal device. It is easy to set up. It communicates over radio. It uses battery. So you literally need only 5 minutes to get this thing up and running and ready to go. If you are interested in this device, I'm going to leave purchasing links in the video description. I believe now this is being sold by iTeed on Amazon as well. So I think there is going to be, well, definitely an iTeed, but maybe an Amazon link in the description as well. Both of these are affiliated links. So if you want to purchase these, you might as well just use my links as well. But I think that will be all for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.